Let's make sure you know how to calculate your benefits based on what your statement says, right? So calculating retirement benefits. There's two key definitions you should know. And on your statement, you'll see a line item that talks about these. So full retirement age is one of the definitions. It's the age at which you're eligible to receive full or unreduced benefits. So full retirement age is a critical term. And primary insurance amount is another critical term. That's essentially the benefit amount or the monthly paycheck amount that's based on that's quoted at your full retirement age. And essentially it's based on 35 years of earnings. And then they apply the indexing to the wages and then ultimately cost of living adjustments on that. And these two things are quoted right on your statement. You can see it right there. Right on that section that says your estimated benefits. It says at your full retirement age, your benefit would be, and this is considered your primary insurance amount, that $21.41, right? And then from there, they give you some rudimentary examples of what happens if you elect early. If you're still at 62 or younger than 62, it will be quoted here. If you're older than 62 but not yet full retirement age, this would actually be whatever age you are at that time. And then what happens if you delay? And you can see the difference there. We're going to talk about that a little bit here. Full retirement age, I just wanted to give you a little bit of insight here. It's based on the year you're born. So even within a household, full retirement age can be different for different people, but I just want you to see it's based on the year you were born. And it's actually gradually been changing a little bit. We're going to show that in a second. It talks a little bit here from your statement about, what happens if you elect earlier than full retirement age, you get a reduced rate. If you work after your full retirement age and delay, you get delayed retirement credits. We're going to talk about that a little bit in this section. Here's a little chart that actually helps you out with this. Most of the folks on the call here and watching this recording are probably going to be in this where they're full retirement, probably born in somewhere in the 50s into the 60s. So you can see this is what your full retirement age would be right in this neck of the woods here. All right, somewhere between 66 and 67. So let's introduce the impact of electing early and delayed retirement credits. There's a relationship. Here's the relationship between high and low benefits if your full retirement age is 66. And then in a second, I'll show you, for those of you who are 67, I'll show you there. And of course, if you're somewhere in between, this applies just slightly in between. So for those of you who are 66, let's assume that your primary insurance amount or the benefit you're quoted at 66 is $1,500, right? So if you retire at 66, then you get 100% of that. But if you retire earlier than 66, at the earliest point, age 62, that benefit amount will be reduced by 25%. So you would get 75% of $1,500, which is $1,125. So obviously smaller checks, right? If you were to delay to your age 70, this is where you see the impact of delayed retirement credits. That the Social Security builds in actuarially an 8% increase per year. So between age 66 and 70, there's 4 calendar years there. And the benefit amount would actually increase by 32% on top of it. So the starting amount would be $1,980. Look at the ratio or the difference between the earliest and the latest. And that's a 76% difference in monthly income that's coming in the form of a dependable check. Right? So something to be fully aware of and understand the impact of electing early or delayed retirement credits. Let's look at a person who's 67. If that same benefit amount, let's say it's $1,500 at their age 67, if that's their full retirement age, well, if they were to elect way back at 62, that's actually reduced a little bit further because of the way they're recalculating the actuarial pension type science here. So that it's reduced by down to 70%. And the starting benefit is $1,050. Whereas the delayed retirement credits, now they get 8% for 3 years, and their starting check would, if they were to wait to age 70, that starting primary insurance amount would be $1,860, right? $1,860. That's a 77% difference between starting at age 62 and up to age 70. But even now that you understand that, a question that we all face is, you've been a contributing member to society, you've been paying into this program for years. Wouldn't it make more sense to take an earlier benefit, like say at your age 62, get paid for a longer amount of time rather than wait to age 70? I mean, you've been paying into this program and you want to get your checks, especially if you're concerned about the solvency. We talked about that, right? Well, here are some facts. 50% of the population does in fact file at age 62. And by full retirement age, 95% of beneficiaries have filed for whoever, whatever their full retirement age is. Only approximately 1% of the population delay until age 70. And I'm going to make your analysis simple. I'll make it simple for you. That's why we're talking about simplifying Social Security. Social Security made simple. You can look at a simple break-even analysis. And if we compare taking early to delaying, you can ask yourself, when am I going to get, my money? Or when am I going to break even? And for one individual who's considering whether to claim benefits early or claim benefits later, all you got to do is calculate on our two scenarios. Take it with the reduction, or you wait and you get the delayed credits. If you take it earlier, you get more checks, right? You get more checks even though they're at a reduced amount and they're smaller. And on the other hand, when you wait until later, you're going to receive fewer checks over the same lifetime, but the benefits are going to be higher. Well, you do a break-even analysis for one person, and all you got to do is just calculate those two different benefits, and it's real simple. Usually what I find is that most break-even analysis show break-even between age 79 and 81, somewhere right in here. The red line would be if they took it early at age 62. The green would be if they took it at full retirement age. The blue would be if they took it at age 70. And usually what we end up seeing is somewhere around, taking it early versus later, somewhere around 79, 80, 81, there's that break-even period, right? So let me ask you a question. Anyone planning on living to or beyond age 79, 80, or 81? I mean, if you're not, hopefully this answers a question for you. If you are, we got a lot more to talk about. How long do you need to plan to create paychecks for in retirement? Well, when you get into this whole conversation about Social Security, creating retirement income, creating retirement paychecks from your savings and your retirement accounts and whatnot, you got to be talking about life expectancy. And we don't have a crystal ball, but this graph is going to open up your eyes. This graph shows that for a healthy guy at age 65, they have a 50% chance of living beyond age 87, a 25% chance, of living beyond age 92. And then for a healthy lady, a healthy female at 65, you got a 50% chance of living beyond age 89 and a 25% chance of living beyond 94. And an interesting statistic is that if you have a couple at age 65, there's a 50% chance of at least one of them living beyond age 92 and a 25% chance of living into their late 90s. There's even a statistic that says 1 in 10 will live beyond age 100. Yep. 1 in 10 will make it to 100. That's a long time to be collecting paychecks from Social Security. So this is, for married couples, this is when and why break-even breaks down. There's the normal break-even analysis that we just showed isn't that simple for married couples, because for married couples, there's over 240 claiming combinations when it comes to electing benefits for Social Security. And make note of this, there's even more options if one or both spouses were born before January 1st, 1954. So you have like each spouse has 9 different years where they could elect. So you have 9 by 9, and there's 2 spouses, and there's like 3 ways to elect my benefits or spousal or a combination. There's 240 claiming combinations for electing benefits. So it's not a simple analysis. And as you may have picked up, a major consideration when it comes to spouses is survivor income. So, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes, but it's complicated. And now you've got a good idea what should go into the Social Security claiming decisions. You might be asking like, okay, I get it. How about I just go to Social Security and ask them for advice? Brian's telling me it's a little bit complicated. There's 240 things. Why don't I just go to the Social Security Administration and ask them to guide me? Well, it's not that simple. See, a few years ago in a magazine, there was a survey done where 77% of folks expected to receive personalized advice from Social Security, and none of them actually received it. Why? Well, Social Security is actually prohibited to advise. They're not allowed to they can't give you advice. They're not trained, they're not permitted. Social Security personnel are actually precluded by their rules to give specific advice. What they can do is they can show you the highest monthly benefit on the day you file. They can tell you that, but it's a question of perspective. Your job is to organize all your overall assets to get the most out of them, out of your lifetime. And if you're married, out of the joint lifetimes, both of your lifetimes. Social Security Administration personnel are trying to get you the highest benefit they can on the day you come into the office. That's a very different perspective, and it can end up with very different results. And kind of talking in there, I mentioned other assets. Social Security cannot coordinate benefits with your other assets. They can't ask you about your other assets. They can't talk to you about tax efficient income. Obviously, how you take Social Security impacts how you use your other assets. Smaller checks, bigger checks, deeper hand in the cookie jar or not, right? So missing that piece of not being able to coordinate other assets doesn't get you where you want to go. So a common and expensive mistake that I see sometimes when I run into people after they have elected is that they realize then that taking benefits before retirement, full retirement age, can be a very expensive mistake. Very expensive mistake. So keep that in mind as we continue to dig into these critical facts about Social Security.